and gentlemen, your attention please at this time.
Hello, everyone. Let's go, Josh. Hello, everyone. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jonathon. I'm Michael's brother. In an effort to upstage my mom, I've upgraded from an iPhone to an iPad. So, here we go. So a lot of people in this room have known Mikey for a very long time. And most people in this room have known Mikey ever since infancy. But for those of you that have known Mikey and those of you that have not known Mikey, I'm up here to sort of give you a refresher and in a way to take a walk down memory lane. To sort of trace the path from where we were and where we've come in a gentle and loving yet brotherly way. So we all know Mikey as Michael, or Mikey, or Mick. During childhood, he was, let's say, hitting milestones at his own pace. I think you could say that he actually personalized milestones. He kind of made them his own, he embraced them, and he said, you know what? It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. I'm going to hit them when I'm ready. And I think the biggest illustrative point of this milestone issue is the food, which many of us will remember as being a critical issue in Mikey's childhood and something that sort of brought him forward to the current day, to being actually my go-to person for food recommendations in New York. But if you actually rewind the clock back to when he was a child, there were pretty much 7 food groups. Pizza, but triangular pizza. Triangular pizza. There was French fries, but in the shape that McDonald's would make them. There was milk, but it had to be skim. And pancakes were not just pancakes, they were with chocolate chips and a Mickey Mouse shape. Which I think, in addition to French fries, which I mentioned already, mozzarella sticks, Cheerios, apples, and red peppers, rounded off the culinary repertoire that was my brother at a young age. It was as if Ronald McDonald and Aunt Jemima had a love child. And that child was adopted and raised by Chef Boyardee. But one day, on his own time, Mikey woke up and he went somehow from Sparrow and McDonald's to butchering classes and duck embryos and sweetmeats. And he just decided with no prompting that this was what he was going to do. He was going to eat like a normal person, and not only that, he was going to exceed the normal person in eating foods that I wouldn't even dream of eating, and I think most of you would agree are pretty disgusting. But in his defense, you know, he's at the cutting edge of what is considered, you know, the culinary avant-garde in New York City. So I think that is a very good example of my brother kind of hitting his own milestones. And I think in some respects it would be a shame not to mention academics, as well as something that kind of Mikey kind of grew into in a way. We had no doubt as he was growing up that this was someone who was incredibly smart. He knew all the different translations of Dante's Inferno. And not only that, but when he went to Amsterdam with my grandmother, he sought out a rare bookstore to find the particular translation that he liked. and bought that translation, as well as many late night solitary trips to ice cream shops, which I don't know why Grandma, I guess at the time Grandma just thought you loved ice cream. And Mikey in high school, you know, my memories of Mikey in high school was with Duke and Chris and Noel and their band playing at 15 Spencer Place, turning our back porch into New Haven's finest Amsterdam coffee shop day after day. And Mikey just decided in high school that, you know, it wasn't worth his time to put his efforts in academically. He was going to do what he liked, he was going to do what he knew, and that was it. And then he got to college, and one day, without any prompting, without anyone saying anything to him, he took up a double major in English and religion. Triple major. Nope, double major. He wrote 2 honors award-winning theses in those majors, and was tried to convince by both of his mentors to actually do a PhD in each of those things, but instead went to Columbia Law School, was elected to leadership in the Law Journal, transitioned that into 2 federal clerkships, and now is killing it at Cravath, for lack of a better term. So, you know, no one had said to him, Mikey, you need to do this. He just kind of picked up one day and did it on his own. And to me, that's representative of the kind of person he is and the kind of milestone pacing that he does. Driving. Do we need to talk about driving? This doesn't really fit my example because Mikey always thought that growing up, it wasn't necessary to have your license if there were other people that were willing to drive you to do things. I'll never forget going to visit him when I was interviewing medical school at University of Rochester. And I was called by not only my mom, but my dad to encourage me to drive him to the grocery store it wasn't about like, hey, you know, good luck with your interview, I hope you do well. The whole phone call was revolved around the fact that when I got there with my car, the first thing I was to do was to drive Mikey to the grocery store to buy his groceries for his special diet that he had in college. Which, to me is representative. But, you know, this doesn't really fit the pattern because unlike the food and the academics, he's still a really bad driver. And I think that we would all agree that we were really taking our lives in our own hands if we're driving in blind wheel. But what I'm really here to talk about tonight is Mikey and Jess, and this kind of dovetails on all this because it kind of forces me to talk about how this all fits into Mikey's relationship with women. Yeah, you heard me. I think that you also were the beneficiary of the "oh, it's okay if you're gay" talk from mom. Is that just me? Okay. As open and honest, as inquisitive as my mother is, she had no problem sitting me down one day and having that conversation with me. It's really great. Maybe the man I am today, honestly. But in any event, you know, my memories of Mikey in high school and in college were those of being surrounded by many women who were all doting, attractive, interested in him. They kind of wanted to get to know him. And every time any one of us said to him, you know, Mikey, what's going on, man? Ask them out for a date or go out. I mean, you know, it was always the answer with kind of a shrug. I don't know. I'm not interested, you know, whatever. And we were all a little worried for a while. And, you know, I may have had the gay talk with him, I'm not sure. But regardless, in the same vein as the food and the academics, and not so much the driving, but at his own time and at his own pace, he decided one day that he had met the girl that was not only going to fulfill his ideas of who the woman he wanted to meet was and who he wanted to start a life with, but to exceed that in the way that he did with going to Columbia Law School and going to his law firm, and in the way that he did with his food. I'm trying to put my words together here. But I think that what I'm trying to say is that on his own pace and in his own time, he blew everything out of the water by meeting Jess. He went through his life at his own pace, and he one day said, this was the person that I want to settle down with, this is the person that I want to marry. And he exemplifies to all of us with Jess what a loving, caring, fulfilling, emotional relationship should be. And more importantly, he's brought Jess not only into his own life, but into our lives, and my family, my extended family, and in many respects, he fulfilled what many of us hope to fulfill, which is to meet their match and to meet someone who completes them. So I'm up here to raise a toast to my brother and to Jess, who in many ways represent the kind of relationship that we all should strive to have, which is a mutually supportive, emotional relationship that my brother has never been happier. So thank you and mazel tov.
Ladies and gentlemen, now please welcome Jeremy, brother of the bride. Let's give a big hand.
Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jeremy. You know, one of the most common questions that people will ask me is what it was like growing up with two shrinks. Or better yet, people will say to me, you know, I read this crazy story about how parents of psychologists end up raising their children and it all goes to shit, like, what happened to you? And then they'll stare at me blankly, waiting for me to just be like, okay, yes, I have a few screws loose. But the truth of the matter is, on paper, yes, I was brought up by Dr. Susan and Dr. Fred, but let's be honest, they had a lot of help from Jess. For those of you who do not know, Jess is 8 years older than me, which means that not only did my parents have 8 years to make her the Freudian guinea pig by asking her questions such as, how do you feel about that? But it also meant that I got a part sister and part cool mom out of the deal. For instance, whereas all the other kids got picked up from elementary school by their soccer moms in minivans, Jess, being her cool mom self, would come around blasting Ja Rule and Eminem in her Celica sports car and take me to the Cheesecake Factory at the Menlo Park Mall before one opened in Freehold. This made everyone happy, from my mom, who got to gallivant around Manalapan with all of her girls, Audrey, Lori, Chloe, Barbara. You all know them at this point. Shopping, going to the Nordstrom's anniversary sale, whatever it might be. And Fred, who had time to do his yoga, photography, and maintain his priesthood at a church on Gordon's Corner. I don't know if you're familiar, but the Church of Gluten-Free. But don't get me wrong, Jess received an A+ in typical sister department. Take when I was 6 or 7 years old, for example. Jess and her friend Brielle were playing with a toy chemistry set that she had gotten for Hanukkah. When I had asked her what they were doing, she told me that they were making a potion that was going to blow up the house. Thinking that they were serious, I ran out the front door with my hands over my ears, thinking that Oxford Road, as we knew it, would be blown to smithereens. No hard feelings. Jess also exhibited a knack for consulting from an early age, at first trying to optimize the performance of Eisner Incorporated from within. Just as she does today, she had to make some cuts in staff where she saw fit. Case in point, we owned a Nintendo game in which only 2 people could play at a time. And when my cousin Sebastian from Argentina came, there were 3 people and only 2 people could play. So you might ask, how did Jesse fix this? Easily and effortlessly, by giving me an unplugged controller and telling me that I was playing when in reality I wasn't. In essence, I was fired without even knowing it, and management, Fred and Susan, otherwise known as my parents, were so impressed that this became a running joke within the family for years. Not only is my sister a best friend who will always have my back no matter what, but she is also one of the best role models a brother can have. I can always text her when I'm in the mood for a laugh, call her when I need advice, and quite frankly, most importantly, I could come over to her apartment on 89th in Amsterdam whenever I want some good food. And Michael, I feel as though it's my duty and obligation to say that you found quite the catch. But also I want to point out that Jess, honestly, you found quite the catch too. When my friends ask me what the log cabin himself is like, I always describe you as one of the most brilliant, unpretentious, warm, and completely genuine people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
There were certain signs that it was the shirt while you were both dating. For instance, Michael, I remember leaving your guys' apartment one night and commenting to my mom about how giggly your laugh had got, just like my sister's. Jess, I think that your acumen for dinner table debate has gotten better ever since you started dating this lawyer. You guys deserve the best, and with that, I'd like to propose a toast to the power couple of the Upper West Side. May you both have years of laughs, happiness, and love together. L'chaim.
At this time, we'd like to invite Jessica to escort her father to the center of the dance floor.
I take this slow, sweet road with you. I let go of my hands
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for Jessica and her father.